Today, we will discuss the top 10 dirtiest countries in the world as of 2025. Pollution remains a significant global problem, negatively impacting the environment, human health, and wildlife. Many nations are struggling with toxic air, contaminated water, and overflowing waste, creating severe challenges for millions of people. Reports from environmental studies have identified the most affected countries and the underlying causes of their high pollution levels. We will explore the primary factors contributing to these rankings, including industrial waste, inadequate regulations, and rapid urban growth. Before we begin, please subscribe and watch the entire video. Number 10. Egypt. A country renowned for its ancient wonders, Egypt is facing critical environmental issues in 2025. Reports from the World Health Organization and the World Bank indicate that Cairo, the capital, has some of the worst air pollution globally. The air is saturated with toxic fumes from aging vehicles, industrial factories, and the burning of waste, making it hazardous to breathe. The Nile River, Egypt's most vital water source, is also heavily polluted. Large quantities of untreated sewage, factory waste, and plastic are contaminating the water. Satellite data from 2024 reveals that over 40% of agricultural water in the Nile Delta is polluted, threatening both food production and public health. Although the government is promoting waste recycling and renewable energy, progress has been slow. Rapid urban growth and inadequate infrastructure continue to damage the environment, placing Egypt's delicate ecosystem at risk. Without urgent action, pollution could worsen, affecting millions of lives and Egypt's future sustainability. Number 9. Indonesia. A country celebrated for its beautiful islands and rich biodiversity, Indonesia is confronting a severe environmental crisis in 2025. According to Greenpeace and the United Nations Environment Programme, the country's rainforests are rapidly disappearing due to deforestation for palm oil plantations. This not only destroys habitats for wildlife like orangutans and tigers but also generates thick haze that spreads across Southeast Asia annually, causing severe health problems. Jakarta, the nation's capital, is one of the most polluted cities in the world. The air is filled with toxic fumes from traffic congestion, coal power plants, and burning waste, making it difficult for people to breathe. The situation is worsening, putting millions of residents at risk of respiratory diseases. Indonesia's rivers are also in crisis. The Citarum River, often cited as one of the dirtiest in the world, is filled with plastic waste, factory chemicals, and sewage. Despite international aid and local campaigns like Clean Indonesia, pollution continues to escalate. If stronger environmental laws and enforcement are not implemented, Indonesia's natural beauty and ecosystems could be lost, threatening both wildlife and human health for future generations. Number 8. Bangladesh. In 2025, air pollution in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, remains among the worst globally. Studies by Air Visual and the United Nations Environment Programme indicate that the city has dangerously high levels of PM 2.5 particles, tiny pollutants that harm the lungs. The primary causes of this pollution include smoke from brick kilns, outdated vehicles, and unregulated factories. Although Bangladesh has made significant progress in economic growth and human development, pollution remains a major challenge. The garment industry, a significant contributor to the country's economy, is also a leading cause of water pollution. Rivers like the Buriganga are filled with toxic chemicals and dyes from textile factories, rendering the water unsafe for drinking or fishing. Waste management is another serious problem. A 2024 study found that less than 40% of urban waste is properly collected and treated, leaving piles of garbage in streets and waterways. Climate change is exacerbating the situation, with rising sea levels and frequent floods spreading pollutants to wider areas. Although the government has introduced green initiatives and stricter environmental laws, enforcement remains weak, and pollution continues to threaten public health and ecosystems. Number 7. Pakistan. In 2025, Pakistan's pollution crisis has intensified, and environmental experts from the United Nations Environment Programme and local research groups now classify it as a national emergency. A 2024 Worldwide Fund for Nature Pakistan report revealed that over 90% of Pakistan's wastewater is discharged into rivers and lakes without treatment, making the water unsafe for drinking and irrigation. Urban waste management is also a significant issue. Most cities lack proper recycling and waste disposal systems, leading to large landfills and garbage accumulating on streets. Karachi and Lahore are among the most polluted cities in South Asia, with thick smog caused by vehicle fumes, industrial smoke, and the burning of crops. Inhaling this polluted air increases the risk of respiratory diseases and other health problems. The Indus River, Pakistan's primary water source for agriculture and drinking, is heavily polluted with industrial waste, untreated sewage, and plastic debris. To combat these issues, the government launched the Clean Green Pakistan movement, aiming to improve waste management, plant trees, and promote clean energy. However, progress is slow due to limited funding and political challenges. Without stronger action, Pakistan's pollution crisis will continue to threaten public health, agriculture, and the environment. Number 6. India. India, the world's most populous country, is facing a severe environmental crisis, making it one of the most polluted nations globally. According to Air Visual and IQ Air studies, many Indian cities rank among the most polluted, with Delhi and other urban areas experiencing extremely poor air quality. The primary causes are vehicle emissions, industrial pollution, construction dust, and the seasonal burning of crops in nearby states. Water pollution is another major issue. Rivers like the Yamuna and Ganges are highly contaminated with untreated sewage, industrial waste, and religious offerings. A 2024 Chandigarh Pradesh Congress Committee report found that over 60% of India's water bodies are unsafe for drinking or domestic use, endangering millions of lives. Waste management remains a significant challenge. Cities like Mumbai and Kolkata struggle with overflowing landfills, while plastic waste pollutes rural areas. Despite initiatives like Swachh Bharat and efforts to expand renewable energy, progress is too slow. Without stronger action, India's environmental crisis will worsen, affecting health, biodiversity, and the economy. The country urgently needs faster and more effective solutions to tackle pollution and sustainability challenges. Number 5. Nigeria. Nigeria, Africa's most populous country and largest economy, is grappling with serious environmental problems. According to the United Nations Environment Programme and the World Bank, Lagos, one of the world's largest megacities, suffers from some of the worst air pollution in Africa. The main causes are diesel generators, industrial emissions, and unregulated vehicles that release toxic fumes into the air. Despite growing awareness and international support for environmental cleanup, corruption and weak governance continue to impede progress. Waste management is another critical issue. Open dumping and burning of garbage are common, leading to severe air, water, and soil pollution. The Niger Delta, one of the world's most important wetland regions, remains severely damaged by decades of unregulated oil extraction. Massive oil spills have contaminated farmlands, rivers, and drinking water. A 2024 Amnesty International report found that over 75% of drinking water sources in the Delta region are unsafe due to oil pollution. Although government programs and clean energy initiatives are being introduced, enforcement remains weak. Without stronger action, Nigeria's environmental crisis will continue to threaten public health, biodiversity, and economic growth. Number 4. Mongolia. In 2025, Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia, remains one of the most polluted cities in the world, particularly during the winter months. Heavy coal burning and industrial pollution make air quality extremely dangerous. Mongolia, known for its vast grasslands and nomadic culture, is now facing a serious environmental crisis linked to urban pollution and climate change. According to a 2024 United Nations Development Programme report, Mongolia's freshwater sources are disappearing at an alarming rate due to industrial mining operations. Water scarcity is becoming a major issue, affecting both people and livestock. Although the government has introduced clean energy projects and tree planting programs, these initiatives are still in their early stages and struggle to keep pace with the scale of environmental destruction. In Ulaanbaatar's traditional Jir, yurt districts. Many families rely on coal for heating, releasing toxic particulate matter into the air. Additionally, desertification caused by climate change and overgrazing is rapidly reducing Mongolia's fertile land, threatening food security and livelihoods. Without urgent action, Mongolia's unique environment and way of life could be permanently damaged. Number 3. Haiti. In 2025, deforestation in Haiti has reached a critical level, leaving only about 2% of the country's original forest intact. Haiti, one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere, has lost its trees due to widespread logging, charcoal production, and land clearing for farming. A recent World Bank report states that this massive deforestation has led to severe flooding during tropical storms, soil erosion, and declining agricultural yields. Without tree roots to stabilize the soil, heavy rains wash away fertile land, making it harder for farmers to grow food. The capital, Port-au-Prince, faces a major waste problem. Streets are filled with uncollected trash, contaminating water sources and causing disease outbreaks. A 2024 study found that over 70% of Haitians do not have access to clean drinking water, as rivers and groundwater are heavily polluted. Air pollution is another growing concern. Many families burn wood and waste for cooking and heating, releasing toxic fumes into the air. Haiti's unstable government and weak economy make it difficult to implement long-term environmental solutions. Number 2. Chad. In 2025, Chad is facing one of the worst environmental crises in the world, as reported by the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund and the United Nations Environment Programme. A combination of poverty, climate change, and weak infrastructure has exacerbated the challenges faced by people living in this Central African nation. Lake Chad, once a vital resource for millions, has shrunk by more than 90% due to climate change and overuse. Consequently, many villages no longer have access to clean water, forcing residents to travel long distances or rely on unsafe sources. Air pollution is another significant problem. The expanding Sahara Desert generates thick dust storms across the country, while indoor air pollution from wood and charcoal cooking fires causes severe respiratory diseases. A 2024 World Bank study found that less than 10% of Chad's population has access to proper sanitation, leading to waterborne diseases. With no adequate waste management system, trash accumulates in cities, contaminating the land and water. Ongoing conflicts and a lack of funding severely hinder efforts to address these problems, leaving Chad in a worsening environmental crisis. Number 1. Afghanistan. In 2025, Afghanistan is considered one of the most polluted countries in the world. According to a 2024 United Nations Environment Programme report, years of war, poverty, and weak governance have significantly worsened its environmental problems. The air quality in Kabul, the capital, is among the poorest globally. This is due to uncontrolled vehicle emissions, the use of low-quality fuel, and pollution from factories. Many people suffer from respiratory problems and lung diseases due to the heavy smog. Water pollution is another major issue. Rivers and groundwater are contaminated with untreated sewage and toxic industrial waste, making them dangerous to drink. Deforestation and overgrazing have caused severe soil erosion, reducing agricultural production and increasing the risk of natural disasters. Waste disposal is also in a state of crisis. Most cities dump trash in open areas or burn it, contributing to climate change and health risks. Despite international aid, rising temperatures and decreased rainfall are exacerbating food and water shortages. Political instability and a lack of funding make it extremely difficult to resolve these issues. Afghanistan's crisis underscores the urgent need